another episode of Xbox Talks. This is episode number 72. We kind of went on a little bit of a hiatus. Just different things didn't work out for scheduling, plus Starfield came out, so we were pretty busy. But we are back now on a new schedule time. We'll be here every Friday, hopefully around 2 or 3 p.m. We haven't figured that out yet, but we will. And then, yeah, we'll let you guys know so you can come up. If you guys are interested in joining today's discussion, there should be a microphone button down at the bottom or a raise hand button. Go ahead and hit that. Come up, talk with us on the show, and share your opinions if there's anything you guys want to talk about. In the meantime, let's introduce the hosts of today's show. We have Mocha Worm,
Hi, how you doing? From the UK.
Anthony Mocha Worm. Yeah,
Here
he's
we
our
are.
UK correspondent. We also have Jay Foreman.
Hey, I'm back, and if everything is good, and I've been all my karma's straight, nothing will break this week. The last few weeks we've missed, if you listen to on the podcast feeds or on YouTube, it's my fault. We had a tornado go over my house 3 weeks ago, and it kind of caused some turmoil, as you might imagine. It wasn't a powerful one, but it was enough to knock down trees and gave us several power outages. So we tried to record the next day, and everything was going good. My power had been on for a while. I'm like, I think we're good to go. And like 15 minutes into the show, bloop, power went out again. We had some Xbox staffers in on that one, which is a big deal to us. We still kind of fanboy out when we get those kind of interactions, and it was kind of exciting. So I was like, oh man. So you guys plowed through it and managed to get half a show down that I'm going to try to recover and still get uploaded. The following week, apparently that caused some havoc to my computer. We were a half an hour ready to start the show, and my motherboard fried out. So I'm going to wrap it up there because it's already boring, but that's why we haven't been with you for the last few weeks. But we are excited to be back. We have a lot to cover tonight, and I can't wait to get into all the nitty gritty of everything we've missed in the last few weeks.
Perfect. And I myself am Kevin Korkenstein. We are your hosts here for Xbox Talks today. Let's start off how we usually do. I'm pretty sure I already know the answer from everybody, but what were you playing for the last 3 weeks?
The last 3 weeks, I don't even remember the last prior to 2 weeks ago, but all I've played is Starfield since the launch on the early access. So I started on the 1st of September. Would that be? Yeah. So that I've just been exclusively playing that. Every time I turn my Xbox on, I just want to play Starfield right now. So that's where I'm up to.
Yeah, same. I haven't been able to put it down since it came out. Had the 5 days early access, and it's just been nonstop. Pretty much, I've already done one playthrough. I'm working on my second one now, and then yeah, it's just been an absolute blast playing that game. Jay, what about you?
Well, I've been playing Starfield. I think that's everybody, and it's we'll get into it here. It's not a game that grabbed me like I wanted it to right away. But I last night I did the thing I always do with Bethesda games. I deleted my character and started again. Because
Really?
well, there gets to be a point in these games, and I don't do a lot of research online. I kind of like to figure things out on my own. There gets to be a point though where I finally feel like I figured out enough of it on my own, and then I look at my character and what I've been doing, and I'm like, whoa, 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 let's pump the brakes on this. I want to go back and use all
Really?
this knowledge I've gained and
Wow.
go at it again. So yeah, I did the restart, in the mine again. I don't think that's a spoiler. It's the first thing you see, and I got a little bit of that Skyrim feel where you're waking up in the cart, and I'm just like, oh, and what struck me is I can see this 5 years from now, waking up in that mine and going through and getting that same start, and it's going to be more and more iconic as time goes on, because I think people are going to be playing this game for a long time. The engagement numbers are off the charts, and again, we'll get more into that. I do want to throw a little love out to Sea of Stars as well, a throwback style role-playing game, very well reviewed, sold 250,000 copies. If you haven't heard about it, that's surprising if you keep up with news, because it's been kind of a buzz game. It's so good, especially if you're an older gamer that grew up in the SNES era, maybe on games like Secret of Mana or yeah, some of those old school role playing games from that era. It's that perfected, and it's really worth your time, and it's a Game Pass game as well. So really nice kind of they're both role playing games, but they're a nice contrast to each other. So I've got like a 1-2 thing going. Lots of fun right now.
Very nice. Well, yeah, let's just dive into the meaty, the nitty gritty here. I'm pretty sure everybody wants to talk about the Starfield. I mean, this has definitely been, I wouldn't say polarizing, because I think overall a majority of the game has been very, very received positively. I think there's just a few outliers out there that have seemed to, for whatever reason, maybe it just didn't click with them. Whatever it was, I've read a lot of the reviews. They just don't make sense to me, but I mean, that's what reviews are, people's opinions. But it seems to have yeah, kind of some people that just didn't like with the game, and they ended up kind of bombing the review score a little bit, in my opinion. But yeah, what do you guys think? Where, if you guys had to rate Starfield right now, where would you rate it at? Well, out of a score out of 10.
I'm one of those people that never gives anything a 10 because you can't go on my rating scale. A 10 is unsurpassable, right? If I rate something a 10, where do you go from there? It's like a Spinal Tap thing, I suppose. It's like it's definitely a 9.5 for me. But I'm not going to pretend it's
Okay.
perfect. It's not perfect. Like there's so much stuff in it that isn't great or isn't, perfect. But as a whole, as an experience, it's amazing. It's just a feel. The music's incredible.
Oh yeah.
The atmosphere. I remember saying on a show not long ago that I was saying I hope it's everything I want it to be. All my stuff. My favorite movie is Blade Runner, and I love The Ascent, the game The Ascent. I love Mass Effect. I love all that kind of stuff, and it is that. The slowness of it, for example, like where people are complaining in the reviews that it's all compartmentalized and it feels slow and transitional. I enjoy that. I think when you sit in that ship and you press the button and you launch it and it goes up, and I'm still not sick of that that transition. Or when you punch hyperspace and you have to wait and then it sort of happens, or you dock with the space station or somewhere. It's all part of the experience for me. I think I'm not tired of it. I think it's amazing.
So a 9.5 on the Moco
Yeah,
scale.
I'm right up there. I think it's I can forgive the flaws that it has, but the experience it's given, if that makes sense.
The pros outweigh the cons for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Nice. All right, on the Foreman
But I haven't
scale.
finished it, Kev. I'm not. You finished the
Oh,
game,
you
right?
haven't finished it yet.
No, I haven't finished I'm nowhere near finished the main story. I kind of diverted. I'm probably about 25 hours in, and I'm probably only 3 missions down in the main quest.
Oh, okay.
So I you're beyond me, and you've got more an oversight on the game as a whole, I suppose. But where I'm up to, that's definitely how I feel.
On the Foreman scale, 1 to 10, what would you rate it?
It's a lot of pressure. I haven't played it enough to give it a fair score. I have some nitpicks. So, first 2 weeks with the game, 8.75 out of 10. I wanted Fallout in space. I got a lot more Fallout in space than I expected. It's very similar to Fallout in a lot of ways. Companions, some of the systems and stuff like that. The exploration's pretty good. I don't find the base building as compelling as I did in Fallout 4. That might be controversial. I don't know. Fallout 4 didn't have the kind of resource and the mining and stuff that Starfield does, though. So that's pretty exciting. But there was more charm and more character to the stuff that you built. I think it might have to do with the setting. Everything's all kind of roughed up in Fallout. So when you find something kind of pristine and you bring it back to your base and kind of use it to show off. But I see the potential here with Starfield. The helmets, I'm already like, man, I want to collect all those space helmets. I definitely want a whole room of those. And that kind of stuff is the charm of this game. And even though maybe I didn't give it a 10 yet, there are other reasons. Like I said, the story's a little slow to go for me. Fallout grabbed me right away. Skyrim grabbed me right away. There's a dragon blowing fire on you. Fallout, that's the nuke, and you're running out of your house. You know how exciting is that? This one, you're mining and you just kind of roll out, and it's not. They don't give you that big moment, where right out of the gate where you're just instantly hooked into the story. It's kind of a slow burn, and I think I need to play it more. And maybe by the end of this, my opinion will change on where that story goes. So you guys might be a lot farther than me, especially a lot of our listeners, and I'm just kind of doing this at my own pace. But all that said, I'll be playing this game for 10 to 15 years, maybe 20 years, just like Skyrim. already see the potential. And like I said, it's just one of those games that in 3 or 4 years, I know that I'm going to be bored on the couch and be like, hey, why don't I play Starfield again? And that's the beautiful thing about Bethesda games. So the metrics are the subreddit, 50,000 users online, over 6 million units sold, or players. I don't know, the Steam, like all the numbers are just amazing. So critic scores is the least important among all those numbers.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter all that matters is that people are playing it and apparently having fun, because otherwise they wouldn't still be playing it this far after launch already.
Awesome. So on the Foreman scale, it has an 8.75.
You got it. That's where I'm coming in.
All right.
So you've
For
clocked the
me,
game, Cole. What would you give it?
For me, I would say on the Korkenstein scale, 7 point, or not 7.5, 8.5. I'd say 8.5.
8.5?
7.5. Oh, we're gonna.
Yeah,
that's
no,
the,
an
that's the magic
8.5.
number.
You should work for Eurogamer.
I was thinking of those. That's why I said 7, because it was going to be the next topic I was going to bring up. But no, yeah, but 8.5. There's a lot of things that this game does very, very well, and like you kind of touched on it, Moko. I think a lot of the cons are pretty minor for me. They're a little nitpicky. There's a lot of things or not a lot of things, but there's some things I didn't really like so much. Some things I did. I don't want to kind of go too much into it for those that haven't played it, and maybe possibly
Yeah.
spoil it or anything like that. So I'm trying to be very careful on what I say. Um, I mean, I think I at least have like 60, 70 hours with this game
Oh wow.
minimum. Um, it's just been absolute blast. See, this is the thing. This is what I love about the game, and this is where it kind of sets that immersion and that kind of follow through is, yeah, with Fallout 4 and Skyrim, you have that big bam moment, and then you kind of just hit the ground running, and then it's kind of a slow burn after. This one just
Mhm.
kind of follows through all the way down to where it's a slow burn, and I like that because this is a game that's built off of exploration and discovery. So with that said, it makes sense that this game's not going to handhold you. This game's not going to give you that long tutorial. It pretty much just is going to do that little mini kind of tutorial, get you started on the storyline, and then where you want to go from there is completely up to you. It's Starfield. It's a game based off of exploration and discovery. So with that, I really like that. That was one of my coolest things. I thought was really cool, the design that they went to. Um, my big gripe too, though, like one of the things I don't like with that system works is the in-town maps. So not a lot of the maps are you don't get to see what the in-town, and that's by design because like I said, Todd Howard wants this to be a game of exploration. They want you to kind of force learn and see where everything's at, and you follow your path, and then you kind of learn this city, and it's like, oh, okay. Um, so I don't really like that much. I do love the fast travel system. A lot of people don't really like it because it takes away a little bit of the immersion, but I love it. Whenever I need to go somewhere, I'm in and out there where I need to go real
Yeah.
quick. Yeah, so overall there's some pros and cons. I won't go too much into it, but yeah, I would say on my scale probably an 8.5.
There's some inconsistencies. I feel like graphically, there's huge variations between the sort of the depth of graphics or the quality of graphics. Like when you're in is it New Atlantis, the city? It's very sparse and the text is very. I was shocked at how. I know that it's full of NPCs, but it didn't look very good. It doesn't look very great. But then you land on a planet or you go into a pirate hideout, or whatever, and it looks phenomenal. And there's a sort of a juxtaposition there between different environments for me that threw me a little. But I've not had any glitches yet. For the size of the game, it's an incredible feat of engineering that I've played. I've played 25 plus hours, and I haven't had I can't think of a single proper glitch that I've come across, whether it be NPCs or dialogue or tracking or items. I've not had anything that's been
For
an
the
issue.
longest time, Bethesda was known as Bugthesda
Yeah.
because of these big, ambitious open world games that they do. They've always known to be kind of plagued with bugs, but this, like you said, this is probably one of the most polished Bethesda games that have come out as of recent, recent years and recent IPs. I think I've only had one crash on PC. I've been playing mostly on PC. I've only had one crash on PC, and that was it. Everything else has been running super smooth with the game.
But the amount of things that go on at the same time, like the interweaving sort of like side missions and main quests and faction stuff and characters that get locked to you for different, periods of time, and it's so intricate, and all the dialogue options, it just doesn't trip up. Like
Oh yeah.
it's incredible, incredible feat of engineering for a game design, for sure.
Yeah, and I love that. I think let's go into the actually like kind of the more, heated discussions that we've seen. IGN, GameSpot, Eurogamer, and Metro, they all gave the game a 7 or under. Have you guys
Yeah,
read any of those reviews yet?
yeah. I've read IGN and Eurogamer. Yeah,
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think it's a bunch of malarkey. It's I
well,
mean, especially the Dan Stapleton review from IGN. He doesn't even
I
know, like,
know, I
especially they
know,
did
but she's
a
not some
spaces
minor
afterwards
anymore,
talking
Lynn.
about the game in the review.
Soon
He
as
didn't
she
even know that there
touched
was a
that
help
rock,
menu.
something changed.
Um,
Don't tell me
he
you
also
can't
like
feel it.
commented too about gravity and how it works and why he didn't even know about that, like why you would lose, or what was it, something about stamina and how you're losing it, or you're not losing it because you're in space. But the game actually does measure that metric in gravity. It's not by the mass, but it's
yeah,
by the gravity. And
No,
so if you jump up in the air, um on a different gravity, and you are over encumbered, then it's going to take away some of your stamina as you're moving through the air. Yeah, it's little things like that, but he really didn't seem to know a lot about the game,
and
which is really weird.
he's not a bad dude. He might have had a bad take here, but he's been around for a long time, and everybody has opinions about gaming media journalists and all that stuff. But I mean, for the most part, he's a reasonable guy, and I've been watching his tweets afterwards, and you could tell he was a little shell shocked. I also happen to follow him on Blue Sky, where he was a little more candid at first because I think he wasn't getting attacked so badly on there. But yeah, he did have some kind of weird takes, like you mentioned. The mass thing, he was complimenting him, but then he went and kind of turned it into a backhanded compliment. He's like, I don't understand, like, I think what he was trying to say, if you have an item that weighs 10 on one planet, well, if you go to a planet of less gravity, that item should weigh 2. But that's not fun, Dan. That's a realistic mechanic, sure,
Yeah.
but this is a game, and Blizzard is a famous company for taking the not fun mechanics out of games. That's a not fun mechanic. Nobody wants to do the napkin math on, well, if I go to this planet, am I going to be able to walk? It's just not a good. So yes, it's not realistic. And if you want to get nitpicky, I guess. I mean, did he dock him a tenth of a point for that? I don't know. It's stupid. It's stupid. And I'm not calling Dan stupid. I'm just saying that would seem to be a very a weird take. Let's put it that way. Stupid's a harsh word.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of too, because it's the internet, and anything you post here on the internet or say on the internet is recorded. It's there. It's easily found, and they found a lot of stuff with him about not liking the acquisition with Bethesda, not liking the ABK acquisition. There was
he got.
definitely enough
This
there
is
to show. What? Go ahead,
is
Booker.
this the guy who got dragged over the coals because they found a photo of him dressed as Kratos from God of War?
Kratos.
Yeah,
Yeah, which
yeah.
is a little silly, guys. Don't. That's just
It is
silly.
the backlash is
Um,
even if it's a terrible review, like the backlash, the gamers are just way too intense sometimes. Like you don't need
But
to, he doesn't need 15,000 comments telling him that calling him all kinds of names and
yeah,
all
of
this
course.
stuff. It gets to be borderline harassment. Like I just let the guy
Mhm.
have his bad take, and let's all move on.
I think
yes, the way some people handled
Eurogame
it was bad.
the Eurogamer article I think is a little different because we know there's a bit of history between Bethesda and Eurogamer. They were given the review copy late for reasons unknown to me that you may know, Cork.
Mm.
So that kind of smacked a bit of an unfair review to me.
I want to say that
Based on-
Eurogamer gave Fallout 76 1.0 on launch, I believe, because it was broken and unplayable in their assessment. And I think somebody can fact check me later, but I'm pretty sure that's the story.
Yeah.
So some people thought, well, maybe they didn't want to give them a review copy, which kind of makes sense to me. Review copies are for publicity more than anything. So is it a little kind of nefarious? Maybe, I guess, but yeah, that seemed like I think what you're both kind of getting at is A lot of times media does have an agenda, and it doesn't matter
Yeah.
what you're covering, sports, anything else. If you're a local market sports reporter, you might cover your team more glowingly than the rival team or that kind of stuff. But regardless, I think a lot of these people do kind of have agendas, for whatever reason be. Maybe they are mad, they're a little angsty because Microsoft just bought Bethesda, and that's not right. I love Bethesda. How can they do that? So now I'm gonna, even though they tell themselves they're gonna be neutral when they come into something like that, it's back there. It's human nature, so it's hard to stay above that.
Yeah, and with like Dan Stapleton, to go back to that, it was just a really weird review, like with everything that he said and all the history and how he's, like I think there was one tweet that he was trying to make a joke about, like that's like, oh, the best place, it was a tweet from Xbox, the best place to play Xbox is on Xbox, and he tweeted, well, it's also the worst place to play Xbox. Like I know he was trying to make a joke because now it's like an all-in-one ecosystem. It just looks bad when things like this happen, especially with IGN and their previous history of not including Xbox on promo materials that are obviously like Lies of P. They released a thing, didn't say it was coming to Xbox Game Pass or Xbox itself. They did
Yeah.
weird stuff like that, and they've had a history. Even their director has had made some little console warish. So that animosity, I think, was just building up with the community, the Xbox community, and they just lashed out. With that said, I do think they are right where he shouldn't have been the person to review. Somebody like Destin or Ryan McCaffrey. I think those two would have probably had a really great review, rather than kind of Dan pulling rank and taking the review for himself. I
I
think
missed that tweet.
overall. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say I missed that tweet from him. Are you saying that he was saying the best place to play Xbox is on PC? I suppose is that his point?
It kind yeah, like
Yeah.
it's because since Xbox has also PC games, it's day one on PC a lot of the times.
Yeah.
They offer a lot of stuff that he's basically saying PC better. It's like
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
joke he was trying to make, but when you have stuff like this and you have
You can't do
an
that though
outlet, yeah.
as a games journalist in 2023. You just can't say stuff like that. You can't joke, really, can you? You can't. You're just going to be attacked, like you said, like Jay said. The gamers are so vicious and so territorial.
Well, yeah,
You
when
just
we,
can't
we
do
The
that.
thing,
You would see that surely as he was typing that. He must have known what the response was going to be.
and we keep tabs
You
of
know.
I mean,
like
the thing is,
other reviewers,
go ahead.
and it goes the other way too. Like
Mhm.
Jesse from Xbox Era, and we follow him closely, I think, and he gave Redfall an 8.5. Said he had a good time with it, and people,
Yeah.
they're like, your website, that we're never visiting your website or trusting you again. And the guy just happened to have a good time with a game that
Yeah.
maybe it wasn't for everybody, but I think when we're looking at reviewers and reviews as a gamer, you just have to find the people you trust, because maybe somebody totally agrees with Dan, and you know what? Maybe they agree with him all the time, and then that's your guy. Fair review, good.
Mhm.
That's his take. But again, it doesn't really matter in the end. What matters is, are people playing this game? Are they going to keep playing it? Is it selling? And all that is very positive. I think
Well,
this
a
is
lot
going
of
to be an
that
all-time
though,
game.
a lot of that does kind of though with Metacritic, because a lot of studios do use Metacritic as a metric, for whether the game's going to get a sequel, whether they're going to keep investing more time in part of the industry that it has to. But yeah, and then the Eurogamer review, when I read that, they were pretty butthurt about not getting the review code. They mentioned it in their review. They even got called out by their own like sister company, Digital Media or Digital Foundry. Where they're like, no, they never said that. So basically what it came down to, because they were saying that they were given Digital Foundry was given the code and they were explicitly told not to share it with Eurogamer. And yeah,
I guess, wah, I didn't get picked. It's so sad.
yeah,
Eurogamer, so
which
sad.
then you kind of see though, like in the review, well, we didn't get a review copy. You know what? A lot of UK people didn't get a review copy for whatever reason. The PR company that they were using in the UK just didn't send out codes. That's sometimes it happens. It's not an agenda. Maybe they didn't really see that there was a big UK need for it, based off of what it is. Even Jez Corden, he had to go through the US, Bethesda US PR to get a code. Same thing I think with Digital Foundry. They went through Bethesda United States to get a code. It wasn't have to do anything with trying to bring down to, but some people did not like that, like Eurogamer and Metro.
You know what? Well, those guys don't deserve codes. I don't care if it was spiteful, and I think it might have been spiteful. Oops, our bad. Something got lost in the mail, kind of excuse, whatever. But again, if somebody gave your game terrible press and you thought it was unfair, you have no obligation to go back to them. And so I guess we can all speculate, and we'll wonder what really happened. Maybe somebody will write a book someday, but. It's just the whole thing was kind of just sad to me. They did get a review code like 3 hours after they wrote their little crying post about it, and and they turned out a review, and I think it was kind of favorable. I remember going over it a few days after release, so they must have crammed through it and got something out there. So, how do you guys?
It's like Skill Up. Oh, I was gonna say, well, like Skill Up. He went after Fallout 76, and he made a thing about like, oh, this is bullshit, BS. We didn't get a code. Kind of, he didn't say that per se. He was just like, well, we're not getting a code for Starfield, so we're not going to put anything out for it. And then he deleted the tweet. But even still, like when he did his 76, he gave it like a 0. Like he was super, super unprofessional in his review. I think he even said at one point he was gonna bomb the next game or judge it overly harshly, to hold them to a higher standard and stuff like that. And then he's like crying about not getting a review code. Actions have consequences, people. You make stupid posts, you do stuff like Eurogamer. I wouldn't doubt, or Eurogamer, I wouldn't doubt they're gonna get another review code from a Bethesda game if it ever comes out because of the way they handled the review. Same with Metro. I don't, they didn't get a review code early.
Metro's so bad
because Metro's, yeah. You can see people like
Metro does this thing where they post user opinions, and it's the most garbage clickbait, like the most awful headlines.
Yeah.
Like, is Microsoft going to buy Sony and Nintendo? User opinion, but they frame it like it's a real news article, and I just despise them. Sorry if anybody works for Metro because you work for an awful company.
It's like they grab anybody off of NeoGAF or Reset Era, and they just like have a big giant dartboard, and they just throw a dart, and whichever troll post it or whatever troll user it lands on, hey, come write an article for Metro.
Yes.
The question that I'm dying to ask is how bad was Fallout 76? I haven't. So it's a game I never played.
It was it a 0? Not good. There were no NPCs. It was. I think it might have not been playable, which it could have been server issues or something along those lines. I had to really dig in on this, and for that reason, people gave it a 0. They said I can't play this.
So
game.
yeah. That was my question. That was what I was going to ask. Were people justified in giving it a 0?
If you have an online game and your servers aren't working, still no.
It's a 0, right?
No.
Right.
So well, it was playable. The issue is they moved away from like what made these Fallout. People thought it was going to be like a Fallout game MMO style, which it kind of wasn't. They moved away from a lot of the stuff that made Fallout. Or some of the mechanics and stuff like that, and they moved away from that and made it more of a actual traditional MMO experience, I think, and that's what people didn't like. Eventually they have walked it back. It's in a much better place now. Well, there was the whole leather bag fiasco too with it.
Yeah,
it was just
the pack-ins were bad. There were no NPCs at first. I think you were just talking about that. It was just a really dry, vacant land, and it wasn't the Fallout experience that people really wanted. So Metro gave it a 3. Games Radar Plus gave it a 2.5 out of 5. That's not bad. The 3 was out of 10. Easy Allies gave it a 2 out of 10. Eurogamer said avoid. The reviews were really bad at launch, especially. So just not good. It wasn't. But it's one of those success stories, though, if you look at it now, because people it's a good game now. It's what people wanted. They just said it wasn't there when they launched it, but they listened to that feedback, which is points in Bethesda's favor, I guess. And it's not really Bethesda, it's ZeniMax.
Yeah, ZeniMax. What was the question you were going to ask, Jay?
I don't know if I had a question. Oh, I was going to bring in the user post of the week. Are we ready to turn it over to the subreddit and see what the users were talking about?
Starfield.
Yeah.
we're gonna go top to bottom, and you know, it's what you guys are posting, what you're upvoting, and what you're talking about. These might not be the best subjects, but we're gonna read them and talk about them a little bit anyway. And you can imagine there's gonna be a lot of Starfield discussion in here too, so we're not really changing over the subject. But the top post of the week with 1.8 thousand upvotes, posted by Squizzy, with 3 underscores before their name. Were there other Squizzies? We'll never know. Anyways, by the real Squizzy. And they just said, I don't understand how Starfield gets called ugly. And they posted this great screenshot. Some rings over, you know, some planet with a big star in the background, you know, like a sun. And it is gorgeous. The game is gorgeous in a lot of ways. So what do you guys think about people who called this game ugly, and why are they calling it ugly? I know we touched on this.
I can get it. I get it. There's some parts which really are, you know, the NPCs sometimes are really janky when you're walking around the city. Like, for example, like I said before, I forgot what it's called. The main city. Help me out.
Yeah.
Alpha something. New Atlantis.
New Atlantis. If you actually stop and take a look around, it's not great at all. Like the textures, the subway around the sort of the subway stops, and it's really bland. But then I say you get screenshots like that where that users posted which look incredible. You know, so there's a real sort of depends where you are in the game. I can see why somebody, you know, would jump on it and be in a particular area, take a screenshot and say, look at this, it looks terrible. Because some of it does. But then other areas look incredible. So it's tough. It's a tough call. But overall, like I said before, it doesn't detract. Like even when I'm in this area, which I think doesn't look great, I'm not playing the game thinking, oh, this doesn't look great. You know, it's just I've just noticed that and moved on. It doesn't detract from the experience. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Sure. The top comment.
Well, for the space, you know, for the size of the game, it's like obviously not every pixel can be so brilliant, you know.
I think that's a huge point in all this. If this was a corridor game, you know, if it was on rails and you were just going through caves, kind of like the beginning, I think they could have dialed up the visuals a little bit. But this engine is what it is. It does things a little weird sometimes. I think a lot of the ugliness comes from character models. I think the character models look really good at times. I do think if you crouch and you try to look up somebody's nose, things start to look a little weird. It starts to get a little spooky, you know.
Did you see the article or the tweet that the guy made in the week? I'm not sure who it was or what his expertise was, but he was a professional in what he did. And he explained why the characters look so weird.
Yes.
And it was to do with the eyes not moving when they talk.
Yeah.
The eyes are fixed. Yeah, there's no muscle. Usually when you talk, your muscles in your eyes contract and move. But on the characters' models that they use, the eyes are fixed. And he says it gives a really weird sense of, I don't know what the word would be, but that's what people are complaining about.
People don't like it when things look human but aren't really human, kind of thing, and it really kind of throws that whole thing off. It ruins that visual, that illusion, I guess, for a lot of people. But the lighting's really dramatic, and some things look a little weird. And like you said, some of the textures look a little strange. So Halo Kook says the atmosphere is gorgeous. Some textures and characters, not so much. Again, what we were just kind of touching on there. There are things that look good and things that look bad. These are most of the comments, you know. It looks great at times, and sometimes it looks a little goofy. And I think that's kind of the big takeaway here. So,
yeah.
And okay, I mean, that's a good top post of the week. I guess they were feeling a little defensive. I don't know. If somebody calls a game ugly and you're enjoying it, I think it's beautiful. Don't you know? Just roll.
I think, like I said, with a lot of this game, I don't think people really understood where it was coming from. Like I said, a lot of this is space kind of where it's very clean, very sterile kind of aesthetic. You know, that's why New Atlantis kind of looks the way it does, because it's a major city. It's a sterile kind of aesthetic to where everything's very nice and neat and clean and tidy. And you really can't have that if you have a bunch of stuff there blowing up inside the or like a lot of stuff in there that's just filling that space in New Atlantis. If you want to see a really gorgeous city, go to Neon. Neon is actually a really nice city. You know, things like that. It's just I don't think people kind of understood what the game was about. Like I said, the discovery and exploration part of it. that was a big kind of thing that people just didn't understand. I think that's one of them too. Is this game doesn't have to be this massive, Cyberpunk 2077 Metro kind of game where it's putting, Metro, what is it, 2033, where it's
Yeah.
pushing the limits of your graphics card. Um, like every other Bethesda game, it's just there to immerse yourself in that story and have fun.
Neon does look incredibly cool.
Yeah.
The reflections in the puddles, all the floor's wet, and it's very much got that Ascent Cyberpunk Blade Runner vibe. It's by far the coolest place that I've
Yeah.
been in so far.
And this game is also working like the bejesus out of your CPU and your RAM and
Yeah.
everything. It's taxing everything in your system, PC or console. It's doing a lot. They talk about those systems. When you really think about some of the stuff, like how it tracks every single item in the universe, you can drop a
Mhm.
piece of cheese on the moon, and you can come back there and after several
Is that
days,
true?
and the piece
that
of
right?
cheese will still be there on the moon where you left it. Like it's really insane.
Oh
Yeah.
wow!
And the same thing, it's just all the combat systems. It's amazing when you really start to think about all the just biology and like just the inventory and boy, it just blows my mind when I start thinking about everything that's going on in the background. And it's like there's 15 different games going on at once.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is nothing short of a technological miracle. They were able to
Agreed.
pull this off without its bugginess that's usually anticipated from some Bethesda games. But yeah, like I said, that's why I don't really kind of fault them for textures and all that. There's so much stuff going on in the background that I
yeah.
don't really care if the game looks absolutely gorgeous or if it looks ugly. As long as it's fun to play, I am enjoying the hell out of it, which I am.
A lot of the best games ever were not cutting edge pixel pushers, as I like to say. World of Warcraft came on, and people called that game ugly, and it became amazing because it was fun to play. And there's countless other examples like that where
Vampire
fun is
Survivors.
what matters.
Vampire Survivors this year took me by surprise. Like it's such a
Oh yeah, that
basic
game,
Yeah.
looking game,
those
but
games,
I put so many hours into that game. I just couldn't put it down.
yeah, those guys dropped by for
So-
Gameplay over
AMA
visuals,
this week.
people. Gameplay over
Yeah.
visuals.
almost like definitely all the time. Sometimes it's nice to play a game that just really blows your mind and is so visually impressive that that the gameplay can take a back seat. It's such a fun ride. But if you had to give me a choice, I will always choose gameplay because how can you not?
Remember-
it's
do you
a
remember
game.
in
It's
the-
supposed to be fun and entertaining. I want it to be fun.
Do you remember in the early 90s when Dragon's Lair dropped on the arcade?
Yes, the
Did
laser
you ever
disc
play Dragon's
version.
Lair?
Mhm.
Yeah, and but everybody was just, it looked like a cartoon, so everybody was like, it was just the best thing ever. But all you did was like hit left or right, and
Yeah,
it
and
was
then
just
it
like
played a
one
different scene.
input thing. Yeah, and it was just, it was absolutely terrible, but everybody loved it. There's people who are into that, and it's just like they want to see like bleeding edge graphics, and there's
Yeah.
people that don't care,
Well, arcades were all about that. I mean, that was a different time, though, for sure. We're all old, in case you're wondering. Let's move on to the number 2 post of the week. It is more Starfield news, and Starfield on X. I'm getting used to that. We're reading all your great feedback on what you'd like to see improved or added to the game. Just basically saying that they're listening. So I'm gonna click over to the tweet here and
Yeah.
go over highlight some of the.
I got it up if you want.
Yeah. Well, either way, this is
Yeah.
here. You can pull
Awesome.
it up and
Yeah. So yeah, what they want to do is they're listening. There's been a lot of discussion about this, and I agree with all these quality of life improvements. They are absolutely necessary. These were some of the cons that I found with the game. But the lack. They said the first update is a hot fix, which they already went out. It improves a little bit of the game. The top community requested features, including brightness and contrast controls, HDR calibration menu, an FOV slider, that's field of view, NVIDIA DLSS support, that's a big one, 32 by 9 wide, ultra wide monitor support, and most importantly, an eat button for food.
I
Rather
thought
than
you.
having to go
I didn't know any of those things, but that's really surprised me. I thought it would have been something like vehicles
no,
or.
nope.
Do you know what I mean? It's all technical stuff. People
Pretty
want
much, except for the eat
support
button for
for
food. You see all those chunks on the table, and you're just like, man, that thing weighs like 0.2. But it gives me 5 hit points. Is it worth carrying? But now you don't have to worry about it because you carry it directly inside you. You just put it in your belly.
Yes.
You get the buff. You get the 5 hit points, and you can go on with your day. Now, I am a noob, but I have heard that you should really hold on to that stuff and maybe throw it in a tub because you can use a lot of it for base ingredients for crafting recipes later. Just a little bit of a noob tip for everybody out there. So it is actually worth holding on to those chunks if you can, so you can do the research and level up your food buff recipes and the end game recipes. There's some powerful dishes out there.
Coming from someone who hasn't really played Bethesda games before, I played Oblivion on the 360 and I thought that was great.
I just fell out of my
But
chair.
I didn't really play Fallout. I started Fallout 4, didn't really play much of it. Skyrim, put a few hours in again, didn't really. I took the first dragon down. Dragon shout. Got my dragon shout, and then I kind of never continued after that. So that's where I'm at. I'm so surprised at like the items in the game. Like it's one of the things that shocked me. I was like, why is all this stuff? Why is all this stuff everywhere? And it's stuff that I never touch, I never pick up, I don't deal with, I don't carry. But then I go online and I see that people like hoard this stuff. Have you seen pictures of people's spaceships? And it's like a junkyard inside the spaceship.
Yeah, the potatoes and the succulents. I've been hoarding succulents.
But why? But why is there all this stuff in
let me ask a question.
Games? Like, explain it to me.
Yeah, let me.
It
I hope Kevin can answer this.
Immersion.
So, I mean, it does. So one thing is they hired a modder, a clutter artist. Was the position,
I was gonna say that, yeah.
Which is really cool. So they came in and they go around the environments and they just drop all that stuff, Anthony. So I have a quick question though. It's a gameplay question and hopefully it's not too much of a spoiler. In Fallout, like if you grab something like duct tape, later you could break it down, turn it into adhesive. Is there a system like that in Starfield? Like if I grab a fan, am I able to turn that into a crafting material, or is that just to sell?
I don't know.
I think it's just to sell. I think it's just to sell. I haven't seen any mechanic to where you can break down more stuff. But granted, this is my second playthrough. I'm diving more into the creation aspect now.
Okay.
My first was just to get through the story. Now I built my own ship. Recently on my second playthrough, I'm going to start doing my outposts. I'm going to start investing in the research stuff. There is a reason to do this on playthroughs. I don't want to give away any story stuff. But yeah, there is a new game plus, and trust me, build your character how you want to build your character. But you have different times that you could do that. It's kind of hard to explain without giving away a lot.
Game is ruined for me now, Kevin. I just deleted it. It's fine.
I already built an outpost.
Nice. Did you get some of the building interconnectivity going, like where something's mining something and then it stores it? And I think there's a way you can access it from your ship.
Yeah, I've got an aluminium mine thing going on where I'm mining aluminium, and it's coming out of the ground powered by like wind turbines, and then it goes into this cargo tub, and then I've linked that to my ship. So when I get on my ship at any point, I can pull in the aluminium. But I only did that because I read that you need loads of aluminium to build, so I thought, well, I'll just start doing it now. But now I don't know why I'm doing it. Like, because I'm not building anything, so I kind of like left it.
This is one of those
for our US people, aluminium is how they say aluminum.
Aluminum.
UK.
Sorry.
Everyone's like, what is he talking about? Like, what's aluminium? Yes, it's like aubergine and eggplant,
you don't
kind
have to
of
be
thing.
sorry. We're the ones that say it
different
wrong.
terms.
Aluminum.
Yeah, we got rid of this.
How do you say Himalayas?
The Himalayas.
I like that. Himalayas.
Yeah, that's all right.
Oh, I heard some Americans and they would call it the Himalayas. And I thought that's a really cool way of saying it.
No, it's Himalayas.
We say a lot of stuff wrong, but
it's like, I'm going to go to the Himalayas.
So I wanted to point out. Oh yeah, go ahead. I was just
typical U.S. education failing us.
We just make up words. We've been doing it since we began as a country. We add letters, take them out. We don't care. I did want to go over some of the top comments on that post because there was a lot of good suggestions from users. Stuff that maybe Bethesda didn't list there, but stuff that they would like to see. The top request was a button to mark items as sell in your inventory. Mark your junk basically. So when you go to a vendor, you can just be like ding 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 instead of having to sort through it all and contemplate each time. The eat button, we discussed that one. A list of my outposts for easy selecting between them without having to navigate the galaxy map. Please, I beg.
That would be good. Yeah, I get that.
Me too. I can't believe this isn't a thing. So I've only made one outpost, but what I'm taking from this is that if you build, say, 20 outposts, the only way to find them is to pull up the galaxy map and remember. Oh no, I think there is a little icon on the planets if you have an outpost on it, but even like the galaxy map is huge. Like I
Yeah.
think it was in this galaxy on the seventh moon of this planet. Like you got to be kidding me, right? Like that's definitely something that they should work on.
Well, that was part of the decision by Todd Howard that I was talking about earlier. Is he wanted people to kind of force learn where all this stuff was at, and kind of give you that constant feeling of the unknown, um,
Yeah, but that
of
doesn't help me at 1 a.m.
exploration and
when I'm sat on
discovery.
my sofa.
Yeah, I mean, I think the
Yeah, I know.
discovery's still there though, but having a list of where your outpost
Yeah.
is and easy
It's-
to travel to, kind of selectable. That seems. Where's the is that a fun system?
It's
or
one of
not?
the things. Yeah, that's one of the things too, like the map that I was talking about, where that system doesn't really work so well. But I guess you can't half-ass a system like that. So I don't know. I just
I don't
I
mind,
agree with
like-
you. It's definitely one of those things that just doesn't work with that mindset or that game design.
Yeah, I really don't mind learning the cities and locations like that, but that galaxy map is absurd. So, that one guy 580 says probably won't be a while if they choose to, but man, just some sort of rover would be great to get across the landscape better. This
So
is
Todd-
again a
Todd
Todd
Howard
Howard
came-
decision. Yeah, he defended this.
Yeah, he came out, didn't he, and said like that would be. He said you just get across the map in 2 minutes and it'd be rubbish, basically.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think I agree. I do. I have to go to MMOs when you get a mount and when you don't have a mount, and how different the experiences is. With World of Warcraft, they went to flying mounts. For some reason, that's my go-to example. I'm sorry, but when flying mounts were put into the game, all the charm and character went away. You didn't walk down paths to get to cities anymore. You just flew from point A to point B. There was no. You didn't
Yeah.
interact with the environment, which I think is an important gameplay element. So I understand this one. I actually, even though it would be convenient to zip across and and cruise around a planet in 2 seconds, it's just might not make sense in this case. So that was an interesting request though, and something that we've seen echoed quite a bit. So we'll do one more here. This one is just complimenting them on the features that they're adding for HDR calibration and a lot of stuff like that. We've heard that this game looks a little faded. People want darker blacks in space. There's kind of that light bleed on everything, and maybe a little bit of the filter for some people. And there isn't a lot of pitch black out there, and I guess I can understand where they're coming from there.
For my thing on PlayStation, I have the neutral LUT mod installed, which vastly improves how the game looks. They have these really weird LUTs on the game, it's like this greenish, bluish, depending on where you're at. It's just, I don't know, like orangish kind of thing where it just overtakes the whole screen, which I'm not a fan of. But I put the neutral LUT on, and it just looks absolutely great without any of that filtering on there.
Yeah,
For those that want it.
Turning the filters off, turning off motion blur. Everybody's kind of dialing into their own preference, I guess. Some of that stuff I don't mind. I do think the light bleed's a little too intense, but I've never been in space, so I can't really tell you how it looks out there, other than the camera lens or something that we've seen like that. So sticking with Starfield, is definitely overtaken the subreddit. It's Starfield fever, but Bethesda talked about using the Fallout version of Earth in Starfield. Todd Howard says so. This is kind of whimsical, off the cuff thinking, but everybody I think has contemplated this once. Is what if the universes are connected, right?
Yeah.
And what if there's a vault on Earth and we just haven't discovered it yet?
There could be a lot of these places were handcrafted. Have you guys been to Earth in this story in the game yet?
No.
Okay. All right, then I won't talk about it.
A little bit. I have seen. I'm going to give you the one spoiler, and it has to do with the UK. And I think I saw Big Ben. That's it. Still standing.
Some guy posted on the sub today that Australia's like, I can see Australia on there. It's kind of like a barren planet, isn't it? And it's like
okay. There's some little
things in there, but
landmarks though.
It's part of the storyline. So that's why I don't want to go too deep into it.
Sure.
I kind of some light spoilers, so I think I kind of know where you're going with all that, and kind of maybe some misdirection going on and that kind of stuff. But
that would tie in with this, though, right? Could if the Fallout version? Could that have worked, Kev?
I think so. Yeah, I think they could have probably gone with it.
That would have been super cool.
It would have been storyline wise, it wouldn't have fit, but aesthetically, yes, it would have fit. You'll see when you get there.
You'll see. You'll know when you know.
Yeah.
The end
when
of
you
Earth
do that
is
mission,
not
you'll kind of see.
Yeah, I'm not going to say too much either because, like I said, I think I've read some light spoilers earlier. I do love the little landmarks they dropped in. There is an American flag on the moon. I mentioned Big Ben.
Yeah.
There's Kevin's chili from The Office. I don't know if you guys have. And again, I don't want to get too crazy with the spoilers, but they have all the pop culture references. So if you're familiar with that opening of The Office where Kevin drops his chili and he's trying to scoop it up and back into the pan, he brought it in for the cookout, and he has blue oven mitts. Like, people went and they compared, and they're like, yep, that's definitely Kevin's chili. And I love that people spent time on this because they're like, is that really it? And then the pot is the same size, the same the same shape and metric, like the dimensions and all that. And I was like, oh my god, you people are killing me. But
there is some cool pop culture or even references just in general. There is one. I mean, you're gonna end up finding it anyways. Kind of. Well, maybe not. It just depends. But they do have a spaceship that's out there, and when you hail it, it tells you it's like, oh, we've been trying to reach you about your extended spaceship warranty.
That one's really made the rounds. So I think that if you're going to share one, that's a great one. That happened to me really early in my playthrough. Like, I just went to a planet and then it's like, would you like to shoot this person down? And I was like, oh, I mean, I'm usually not that type, but yes, I would like to shoot this person down. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So I guess they keep coming back if you don't respond to them. Some people said that they did buy the warranty, and there's no benefit in doing that. I did a lot of research on this. There's apparently no benefit doing that. So if you're curious, maybe save your credits.
So some of the humor is good. Some of the dialogue options when you can answer people are hilarious. Or they're so antagonistic or just nasty or just. And I don't hit them because I'm like I'm always scared of what'll happen if I hit them, and I'm like, do they all just go down one path anyway? Or is
you ever have to do the reload? You just want to try something mischievous. You're like, what happens if I throw a grenade in there? And oh, okay, everybody wants to kill me now. Reload real quick. It's that's kind of the fun, is playing around with the mechanics of the game. I think of these kind of things. So
I did forget to tell everyone, for those who want to know about that neutral LUT mod I was talking about, I did post it in the chat, the Discord chat. It's on Nexus Mods. It really changes how you look at the game. So I would definitely download it if you're playing on PC.
Mods. They're pretty cool.
It's a world I don't know.
I have a DLSS mod. I have an optimization mod on there. A whole bunch of different ones too. Skip screen for start, so you don't get that seizure warning or the Bethesda logo.
Do these affect achievements, these mods?
No, they're all visual. No. Most visual ones won't. It's only when you start, but there's already an achievement enabler for that. So you could download a mod. So let's say you want to use cheats. They do have a cheat mod, but they also have a mod that re-enables cheats or re-enables achievements. Once you install that mod and you start using the cheats, so you don't miss out on achievements. Yeah, somebody made one already. There's 2 of them, I think.
What's the point?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Achievement hunter's gonna hunt.
Right. I mean, here's a kind of it's just a weird post, and this one kind of got through it. How is this even allowed without an auto ban? Basically, a user was gaming, and then somebody party requested them 32 times in the middle of their game, and they kept getting the pop-up, and they said it was annoying. Why isn't Microsoft doing something about this? But yes, that's frustrating. We can go in on the comments a little bit.
It's not a comment with something like just block them.
I'm scared.
Yeah, just block them usually. Yeah, right. These are the kind of posts that as mods we always kind of dread opening up because you just don't know where the comments are gonna go. For some context, this was happening during a Rocket League match. I did not want to stop in the middle of the game and go to the menu to try to block someone, which is fair. You know, if this is happening in the middle of a match, it's borderline harassment. So, unfortunately,
I mean,
I
the
think
quick
your only recourse there is the report after the fact. I
the
think it's
quick
asking
fix on
them.
something like that is to give. There has to be some kind of cooldown before you can send another party.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like.
that is
But I
something that they
mean,
could do in the back end.
it's a it's a
Eh,
weird thing, isn't
I
it?
understand. I'm
Just
surprised
block.
that the post like took off like that. I guess maybe it's a more common problem than I know, but clocked in at 1,400 upvotes this week. So the next
Yeah.
post is a beautiful. It's a video. I'm just gonna describe it. It just shows base building, and it's a really nice, pristine looking base. How I was just kind of complaining about it. This video completely shoots holes into my critique because
Nice.
it's really solid looking. They have a terrarium and great plants, and it's a really beautiful looking kind of landscape. So if you really want to get into it, yes, the base building is extreme and cool, and on PC with mods, it's going to be something else. We've already seen weird stuff happening over there. New PC gamers are nuts, stormtroopers and all kinds of stuff happening.
Hey,
So
they have a flashlight mod that's Phil Spencer's face.
yeah, that's awesome. And it won't be
You
too
turn on
long.
your flashlight and it's
Yeah,
Phil Spencer laughing.
I have no doubt that you're going to be able to play like the entirety of like Star Wars: A New Hope, with all the characters before too long here. Somebody's going to mod it up. Your lightsaber's going to be a melee weapon. It's going to be amazing what people do with this game. So, uh, again, it's a 10-year
Well, I
game,
mean, it only took them less than 24 hours to get a DLSS mod out.
right?
Yeah, that's like some of these guys are just insane talented. I'm not saying insane in a bad way, I'm insane in a good way. Some of these guys are just absolutely just talented
It's
and just
mad
insane on what
genius.
they do.
Yeah, it's mad
Yeah.
genius. So the next post was current landscape, and it's just a meme. It says Xbox Series X subreddit, Starfield everywhere. Yeah, that's what everybody's playing.
It
It's
is
kind of how it
nice.
goes. But
Before you move on to the next post, because I know we're
yes,
going to get stuck into a huge discussion about this one, the following post is one of the best memes I've seen for ages as a mod, where they posted the Xbox in space on the planet Earth, and they put, "Is this enough space for my Xbox? Will it overheat?" And
yes,
that it's amazing. It's like the amount of posts we get, like saying, "Have I got
yep. I
enough
can pull
space for
that
my
one up.
Xbox?"
Kevin's.
Okay.
We got all the memes pulled up right now on the video feed. So if you are joining us by video, you can see what we're talking about. If you're listening on podcast,
But
yeah.
but the amount of posts we get over, like, think just that the overheating Xbox is just the ongoing discussion in the
It
tech
has
section.
been a common
It's
post
just insane.
since launch day, and we
But people post a picture of their Xbox in the cabinet with like a foot all around it of clear space, and like, is this okay? Is this
yeah,
okay? And it's like, of course it's okay.
and for what
Of
it's
course
worth, we
it's okay.
usually ship those posts off to the tech support community.
We do.
Because it's
We do.
nobody wants to see the same post over and over. But the joke is funny, and yes, we get it. We saw lots of those posts, and we're trying to alleviate that so you don't have to see quite so many, at least in this community. This is kind of a big story. We've gotten through all the Starfield. We made it to like the post number 8 of the week before we got into any other news. And it has to do with Unity. And I think Kevin is probably maybe best versed on this. I'm familiar with it,
Yeah.
and I've actually been a big supporter of Unity for years, and this has quickly changed because something is going wrong over there. And can you fill us in on what's happening?
Yeah, so a few days ago, Unity came out and they said that they are going to start charging developers a fee after so many downloads and installs, not even installs, just or yeah, in so many installs of their
200,000, I believe it was.
yeah, depending on where you're at and what you do, the higher or lower your price goes, what they're going to take out, and how they rolled it out, it was just mind-boggling because before they walked it back, every install. So let's say you install and then uninstall and reinstall, that's two occurrences that they're going to charge you for. So essentially, somebody can set up a bot to just install, uninstall, install, uninstall, install, uninstall, and you could literally tank a game in a company with those charges because now they're gonna have to pay 200,000, when somebody only bought the game once. Things like that was rolled out with it. What else? Um, yeah, at the time it was like some people were worried about the Game Pass because they're actually, going through Game Pass, so they're not technically selling the game, but it's still getting installed at a very massive audience to a very massive audience. So there was that. People were like, "What about this?" Eventually, they ended up walking it back, and they started talking and answering some stuff. This is all coming from what's his name, John Riccitiello. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. For those that are familiar with this guy, he was the former CEO of EA. Yeah,
During
that
the bad
EA.
days.
Who
Well,
Yeah, the bad
they
days
had
of EA where he wanted to charge people $1 for reloads. That's the kind of person this guy is.
I
Um,
still can't believe that's
Literally, he
serious. That never
well,
happened.
that
It couldn't have.
I was
well,
not making that up. Seriously, for those that are like, haha, like not you guys, but everybody else that are laughing about that, he was dead serious. He brought it up in a meeting, and that was one thing he wanted, initiative he wanted to roll out. We're going to charge you $1 for reloads. Just insane.
so over the course of 24 hours, they didn't just walk it back; they walked it back in stages. So at first, they came out sort of saying that, well, it's not every install that we're going to charge you for. That
Yeah,
kind of thing. And then he came out and said that if it was Game Pass, Xbox would be responsible for paying the fee.
yeah.
And then after that, they came out and it went on and on. I'm not sure exactly where it's up to now, but the last story I saw was that people were just like saying that the confidence in this engine is completely shot and it's going to die a death. So
Yeah. They broke
what
all trust with developers.
what a
I mean, essentially,
terrible.
when they first announced it, it was like people now had to stop. These indie developers that don't have a lot of money, now they had to stop and be like, "Well, we're already halfway through development. What do? We just can't switch engines over. It doesn't work like that. Are we going to go out of business? How even because there's also a retroactive part. So after January 2024, once it hits 1/01/24, the retroactive thing starts. So if people download, like Jay posted, Cult of the Lamb, um, after that they get charged now, after so many downloads or so many installs, things like that. So a lot of developers were just upset because they really had to think, am I going to survive this? It's devastating.
And just to
So
be clear, I don't think a lot of people realize how like prevalent Unity is. There are a lot of games built on Unity, and a lot of games that they're not very samey. There are card games, there are platformers, there are shooters, and it's all built on. And Unity is a great entry point for new developers because it was really easy to get into. There was no license fee to get on board. You could just start and create, and that's why how we got so many of these great games. But what a blunder! What a disaster this whole week has been for them. I did pull up the stock price here. They lost about 5% in value over the last week. You can see a line that goes straight down as soon as they made this announcement, and the backlash came in. So, not a great week for Unity.
Yeah,
I just want to
I
read the post
saw.
by
Oh, go ahead.
obviously for anonymity. I'm not going to say who it is, but we know someone who works in development, and they're saying they're Unity developers with 60 plus million people playing their games, which is a lot, right? Because it's mobile. And they expect a lot of lawsuits and probably for the EU to step in and block and fine them because effectively they're trying to force their way into to a dominant position. So that's
Yeah,
somebody works on the ground saying that they're saying internally it's causing chaos to existing games.
Yeah, CMA. I
and
got
you.
I got a real job for you. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also because how are you going to tell what's pirated and what's not? So that's what other people were saying too about this is, well, how are you going to tell unless you're using some pretty invasive illegal stuff to see what's on my system? There's no way you can tell if this is pirated or downloaded.
Yeah.
So how are you going to do that? So that's also another thing people were worried about. They also did delete their terms of service off of GitHub, to hide something. So that's off there. It's just a huge blunder. To go back to Jay, 3,768 I think, or 98 was the number of games that use Unity. Somebody posted it in a Discord I'm in. I think it was like on Wikipedia. I think that was the number. It was like 3,000, over 3,700 games use the Unity engine or have used the Unity engine.
Don't Ubisoft use Unity?
They use it a lot. They use it in a lot of their games.
Assassin's Creed games is, I'm sure, Unity, right? Maybe I'm
I
mistaken.
believe so.
I mean,
Yeah, I think that
talk
is.
about a way to
Cuphead?
destroy your business.
Cuphead is built on Unity.
I mean, they must have had
Beat
some kind of
Saber.
outreach they must have had
Hollow
some kind of
Knight?
outreach to developers who they work with to gauge reaction before you just come out with something like this.
Well, this is just a weird
Like,
thing
Nope.
because they're like, hey, we have a system. Now you owe us a bunch of money. Thanks for building this thing on our system. And it's like after the fact, and it definitely feels very dirty. It feels dirty at best. And like I said, I was just going through some of the top games. Hollow Knight is beloved. Subnautica, Death's Door, Pokemon Go, the City Skylines, right? I don't know about Skylines 2. That will be interesting to keep an eye on. Hearthstone, weirdly enough, Blizzard. The Uni engine was reportedly chosen by Blizzard because it would allow the game to run faster. So again, even a big developer like Blizzard is using it for their card game because it fit it best. And what is a company like Blizzard thinking? They're probably just like, oh shoot, we'll just make our own. We're not gonna get involved with something like this. Ori and the Blind Forest was built on Unity. Pillars of Eternity is built on Unity, and I already mentioned Cuphead. So these aren't just like small. You might call some of them indie games, but these are definitely major releases. And I think the one that made the most was Cult of the Lamb, right? Made the most news because we mentioned they're just going to straight delete it. They're not going to put themselves at risk for this. And fortunately, I bought it. My daughter already bought it. We bought 2 copies of that game. So Xbox is very good about preserving your purchases, so you will be able to continue to download it. If you're concerned about that, you might want to go out there and support the developer and buy the game before shenanigans begin. So,
Yeah, was it? I think the Slay of Spire developers.
Slayer,
Yes. I think they were like, listen, they hold the thing about Unity and talked about what we talked about, but I just love how they ended it because they were like, we have never ever had to make a public statement before. This is how bad you messed up, um for it. They used an expletive. I don't want to do it because in case we have people here, even though I cuss like a sailor all the time.
That's
But
no. Next week
still,
we're going R-rated. We're bringing all the F-bombs.
yeah, but yeah, that was one of it. It's like, this is how bad you effed up, and I just thought that was beautiful.
Yeah, and that's a unified response. If you can unify gamers on anything, you've messed up. It's if everybody's coming at your consoles, PC, and everywhere, you messed up. So, big Cyberpunk news. Everybody's really excited about the 2.0 patch. This was a top post on the subreddit this week, and I'm just gonna preface this with I didn't really get that far into Cyberpunk. I played it a little bit during launch and just never made it back to it.
Well, did you read this article, the PC Gamer article that's been posted? Which
No, but
is the story.
Yeah, go ahead. I was just going to say, I read the comments and people are just really fired up about this.
So the article's good. He basically says like he started over like you have with Starfield, and that it's a completely different game. Like all the skill trees have been redone. All the everything he just basically says it's if you're going to play it, start again. If you've already started.
This is not the RPG you played in 2020, and that probably sums it up.
It sounds great, and I'm halfway through Cyberpunk, and I was enjoying it, but I kind of got sidetracked with other stuff. I can't remember what happened and what other games came out. But I thought it was a great game, but this article is saying it's just way better now. This is the game you wanted at launch, and to restart.
I have it pulled up and it says new perk trees, reworked stats, reworked cyberware, and then this one really caught my eye: car combat, including cars with guns.
Yes, cars with guns.
Well, all right. I mean, I love that is like a major selling point. Let's get a little Mad Max out there. Dynamic police too. I heard that those police systems been reworked, more similar to something maybe like Grand Theft Auto. So Top comment in the story is RPG enjoyers are absolutely feasting right now, and isn't that an understatement? You have Baldur's Gate 3 out there. You have this huge update to Cyberpunk. You have Starfield, and I'm probably forgetting, a lot of other ones. Final Fantasy VII Remake Rebirth is right around the corner in spring. You just had Final Fantasy 16. Final Fantasy 14, the MMO, is going to launch in early beta on Xbox.
October is
a couple weeks.
October is Assassin's Creed Mirage, Alan Wake 2.
I'm not ready for October. Slow down.
Oh, yeah.
It's stacked. 100% stacked.
Alan Wake 2 is. I cannot wait for that game. That's why I'm pumped.
It's been the gaming industry's been weird. Last year we had the drought, and everybody was like, "Where are the games? Where are the games?" And this year it's just like, boy, I wish we could have staggered this a little better. If we could have had a few of these last year, and I know that's not how it works, but it's definitely been a wild ride. I don't see myself being bored anytime in the near future. So, just to check out a few other comments here. Just people are excited for Cyberpunk. All the comments are like, just give it to us.
Yeah. I was going to say there was did you watch the Forza video in the week?
We did get Forza news. I don't remember watching the video. I think the big
it was like a developer diary kind of thing.
Yeah, the thing that stuck out to me was the Series S is going to have 60 FPS.
Yeah,
just great. Not the ray tracing and stuff, which again confirms ray tracing on the Series X version. This game is going to be. We were talking about pixel pushers. Car games are usually where you show it off, and this game is going to show off the power. I think this might be the best looking game on the Series X, and maybe I'm giving it too much credit or hyping it too much, but I'm very excited to see it.
It looked great. Dynamic weather and the tracks. It was talking about the physics of the game, and it was a good watch.
I'll have to queue that one up. Actually, I'm interested in that, and since it's going to be on Game Pass, it's just too much to play. It's just crazy. Microsoft is interested in bringing trophy-like platinum Xbox achievements. This is from Twisted Voxel, and I'm going to click through to get the details here. This is definitely something that we've seen requested over and over and over again over the years. People want some kind of badge, some kind of indicator.
They just need to do something. They just need to do something. The achievement system is stale. It's like it. We've discussed it many times, even just on the talks we've done.
Oh,
there's people gaming the system now. You've got these games that give you 5,000-6,000 achievement points, and I do it myself.
I don't want any points.
I'm a total hypocrite.
I would definitely just take like a badge, a game completed badge, and then maybe some sub achievements underneath it. There doesn't need to be a number value anymore. I don't know if they can ever rework it into something like that, because you have to still give credence to all the achievements that people have gotten, and they would have to convert everything over to a new system, which would be a seemingly complicated process. I think there's got to be thousands of Xbox releases over the years. The source on this one is Jez Corden.
Yeah, reliable.
Pretty reliable, Jez.
But I mean, the easy thing now, isn't it? If you've got 1,000 in the game, you get your platinum badge or whatever. But it needs some kind of bigger overhaul. I feel the achievement system. It's the same as pretty much the same as when the Xbox One launched, and not far removed from the original 360 launch when they were invented.
I have this weird memory of when the 360 launched, and apparently it never actually happened. But when you opened your profile, underneath it, like if I got all the achievements in Pac-Man, there was like a little Pac-Man badge, and you'd get like a little badge for every game. Now this isn't anything that was ever a reality. Apparently, I just want it so much that I remember something that never existed.
I don't remember that.
But
I do remember you used to get stuff like, so when you when you got an achievement in Mass Effect, I got this Mass Effect thing to put on my avatar's arm, and that was cool.
Gamers love
that. Was super cool, right?
Yeah. Gamers love all that.
That's what we need more of.
Collectibles, rare stuff that you can only get for a limited time.
Why overhaul the avatar system, and then completely neglect it again? Tie it in with these other.
Why buy Nokia and then just ditch Windows Phone? It just doesn't make sense sometimes. Sorry, Windows Phone fans.
Sorry, go on.
No,
If you're looking,
you're
I was
good.
going to
We
say
were
there's
kind of getting a little sidetracked. You asked about Stray earlier, and I didn't get a chance to weigh in. $20, yes, Stray's worth $20. If you not
yeah.
expecting too
The
much.
question, I was before we started the show. I asked Kev, is Stray worth dropping £20 on in the UK?
Yeah.
And it just feels like it's a Game Pass game waiting to happen.
It
And it's
is.
like, do I drop
It
£20?
was available yeah.
That's the weird question now, isn't it? All the time, should I buy it or is it? We have it. It kind of. We did the AMA, and every time we do AMAs, the first question people ask the developers is this coming to Game Pass?
I know. I feel so bad too for every developer that
It
comes in, and a lot of them are just
really-
like, "We would love to come to Game Pass, but Xbox hasn't come to us." So they see the value in it.
But it's changed the entire psyche of I think the average gamer on Xbox now. It's like people would rather wait for the Game Pass to get it on Game Pass and that's where I'm at with Stray. It's like, do I drop £20?
Or I tell you, I hate that question. I hate when people ask that question. But yes, you should wait for this to come to Game Pass. I'm only saying that because it was on the PlayStation subscription service for a long time, and it might still be there. And I've noticed that when games are on one, they usually end up on the other at some point. And I'm assuming that you have plenty to play right now.
Yes, I have.
So why spend $20 and just have something sitting there in the back burner when you can buy it for $20 later or on a sale, that kind of thing. So patient gamer moment.
Big. So I want to address one of the.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the things that you're coming up to here is a lot of people are posting at the moment about they're trying to play on Game xCloud.
Yeah.
And it's saying they have to wait for 20 minutes up to a few hours. Right.
Well, especially the first night of Starfield.
We're getting tons of these at the moment, and if you remember when the CMA acquisition trial was happening, there was a lot of information was disclosed in documents, and one of the points that was disclosed was that there's only capacity in the UK. There's only capacity for something like 5,000 concurrent players on xCloud. Do you remember this?
Yeah, so, I do.
A while back, yeah.
So, and I remember at the time saying like, that's nothing. That's so low. It's crazy. But that's what's happening clearly, right? There's just not enough capacity on the network. Or allocated capacity. But people don't know that. That's not general knowledge in our sub.
For console gamers,
it's causing a lot of frustration.
Yeah, for console gamers especially, I think this is a pretty rare thing. I think Diablo 4 might have saw some long queues during the beta. I'm pretty sure by launch they had it pretty much squared away. But anyways, this is definitely kind of off-putting. Nobody wants to be like, hey, I'm ready to game. Oh my god, I have to wait 2 hours. But it is definitely not unprecedented either. There's just a lot of demand for people playing Starfield, and it was pretty much triggered by Starfield because there's a lot of people that this is how they're demoing the game. They might not even have hardware to play it, but maybe they have one of those Samsung TVs. Maybe they're just playing it on their phone. They just want to check it out, and sure, they're all jumping in there. And 250-minute queue time is the top comment there, which is just turn it off. That's where I'm at with that.
Just download it.
Yeah.
Maybe this will be a spur for Microsoft to increase the capacity. If they're seeing it being hit so much. I've never had a problem with xCloud. Every time I've tried to fire a game up, it's just worked. So I've never experienced this.
Earlier this week, I tried to play Vampire Survivors in bed at night, and I had like a 3-minute wait, and it's like the first time I've ever had a queue wait. I don't know if this is regional. You mentioned the UK might have less servers, less data center, that type of thing. I'm sure the US has several, and it's I don't know. Right now, it's just kind of a lay of the land and something that we'll have to keep monitoring. This isn't going to be the last big Xbox release on Game Pass, so is this going to be a thing in the future with every major release, or are they going to build out the capacity with those 30 million subscribers they have right now, which is some other news that broke today. They've climbed over the 30 million mark for Game Pass subscribers. It does not specify which tier people are subscribed at. This comes from a Twitter post, but the Twitter post is a screenshot of a Microsoft release, and it is for a job listing. And in the job listing, they revealed it's actually the resume, and launched and grew Xbox Game Pass, the world's #1 gaming subscription service, to over 30 million members. So what a weird way for this to leak. So I was just kind of learning as I read along. If you couldn't figure it out there, I was like, oh, wait a second. So this is Craig McNary.
Is it on LinkedIn?
Yeah,
It'll be on
yeah,
LinkedIn, won't it? Yeah, of
yep.
course.
So he posted his resume and just casually dropped subscriber numbers for for Game Pass as a job
I mean,
qualification.
even if you assume that everyone's on core, which they're not, I mean, well, how much is that they're making per month? 30 million times what? 10 pounds,
Yeah,
$10.
I mean, if everybody's on $1, they're making 30 million a month, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if everybody's gaming the system, that's how much it is. A lot of these subscribers are Xbox All Access subscribers.
Yeah.
I did that a couple times for a couple of our systems, and these are full price payers, and they're making a lot of money. It's very
Yeah, a lot.
and they haven't dipped yet. A lot of these subscription services are starting to dip. We've seen news today that Disney Plus is really struggling, and they're going to be rolling back their rates, their
Hmm.
subscription fees, and people are getting a little weary of all these subscriptions. You know, it's fatigue. We all have to deal with it. How many subscriptions do you have that you don't use, kind of thing? And you go through and you chop them. But anyways, Game Pass seems to be kind of holding strong.
You know, when
And
developers are pushed on developers that have games in Game Pass, either in our AMAs on our sub or in articles online, they all say they're all positive about it, and they say it's been a great thing for them. And if they're making, this much money with this many subscribers, you can see that probably financially it's probably finding its way through to the developers. You get the things with Spotify where the artists are being unfairly treated, and it's a big thing, and they get pence per play. And I can't see that being the case with Game Pass. People don't give up
well, Game
their
Pass is
art that
curated.
easily.
You know, Spotify is just everything. Everybody can
Yeah,
put their music on there. But with Game Pass, it is like we said, we when developers get asked that question, they're just like, we'd love to be on Game Pass,
yeah.
because there's a lot of advantages to it. Like, imagine getting
Well,
$200,000 in funding up front before you even
yeah,
had to sell your game.
the AMA we ran today, I can't remember. Somebody asked him
Axolotl?
that straight off. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, somebody asked him that straight off, and he said like, I think he posted something like, "Microsoft, please call us."
Yeah.
They want to be on there. They want to be on there.
Yep. It's
So the exposure as well, right? It might your game suddenly is in the hands of
oh
30 million people, right?
1,000%. I mean, you've gone by the new section of the Xbox store, right? Like, it's
Yeah,
insane. There's games that just get lost in there. There's games that release and never see the light of day. We've featured games in AMA. I forget the name of the one right now, but they came out later, and they said they sold like 32 copies of the thing. I was just like, oh my gosh. And it was just a really niche appeal game, and it's real crowded right there. So one of the things that we get to do on the subreddit is bring attention to some of those games, and that's one of my favorite parts about doing all this stuff with you guys is sometimes we get to highlight someone that doesn't have an advertising budget. It's just a work of love.
hmm
And earlier this week we had a kind of a solo indie developer, and it tracked really well because people it resonated with people. They're like, oh my gosh, this person loves games. They took the
yeah.
time to learn how to make one. They went through the whole process by themselves, and look at this game, looks pretty cool. That's easy to get behind, but it's not easy for those people to get publicity for their games. And if we can do that on Reddit for free for them, they can answer some questions, and a few people might pick up on it and buzz it up a little bit.
Yeah,
Then
absolutely.
that's just a great thing for everybody involved. We're gonna move on a little bit more. I'm going deeper now. Once we get a little deeper in the feed, like the submissions start getting a little weirder.
They
Things are
do.
going fine though. Somebody stole some whiskey in Starfield. It's a gameplay thing. People are waiting for Baldur's Gate 3. Understandable, but honestly, take your time. They're almost rushing that. We got confirmation that Baldur's Gate 3 is coming in October or November for Xbox. And I was just like, no, don't do that. Just slow down. It's fine. Other news. Oh yes. The Tokyo Game Show is coming up, and it's streaming at an awful hour for the States. I think, Anthony, in the UK, it's not too bad for you.
10 a.m. here. It
Well, that's
is
not
on a
bad.
Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, everybody's working. It's a
Right.
Thursday morning at 10 a.m. But I think it's 2 hours show. And this article here says that the Microsoft's going to reveal some new exciting Game Pass titles.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that could. There's no hint of what that
Well,
could be.
what do you think the top comment? Did you look? What do you think
No,
the
I've not
top
looked at the
comment
top
is
comment.
asking for? Don't look. Doug, you have to guess.
For Game Pass,
Japanese
God, I don't even
developers.
know. Final Fantasy VII
Final
remake.
Fantasy 7.
Yeah, you got it. Everybody's just like,
Yeah.
I feel like if Xbox could ever solve the Final Fantasy problem, they would be a lot of happy people out there, and I guess I'd be amongst them. So
Well, I wouldn't doubt that it's coming. I think I'm one of the people. I think Final Fantasy VII, the remake, is going to be hitting Xbox pretty soon. Especially
there
once
was
they just had the showcase yesterday, the PlayStation State of Play. Down at the bottom, if you guys noticed, it says available for other platforms 3 months later. I think in like May or something like that.
it did. So
Looks like the timed exclusivity is only for 3 months. So
yeah,
we could very well be seeing Final Fantasy VII in the next year.
I modded a post yesterday where I don't know how I would find it now within 2 seconds, but somebody posted about a new title from Square Enix, which is releasing on all platforms except Xbox.
yeah, that's kind of me.
Did you see that?
Yeah, it's not. I'm
Was
not
it
overly
you who
concerned
posted
about it. Relationships
Um,
have been warming. We've seen Phil, and we've seen the executives out there shaking hands and doing the public.
Yeah.
We're working together. We're gonna put more games on Xbox. That's exactly what Square Enix has said. The Final Fantasy VII remake.
Well,
I'm kind of up in the air on this. First of all, I waited forever for the damn game, and I bought a PlayStation for it, famously on this podcast at least. And I think they might wait for the trilogy to be completed to bring it to Xbox, but I guess we'll see. The exclusivity window could be referring to the PC release. We know there is a PC release coming for Final Fantasy 16 already, so that would kind of make sense. I have heard that it won't be on Epic Game Store this time because it seems like Square Enix is kind of changing direction on some things. We did
well,
get
the last CEO was already taken out because of that. I mean, they
Yeah.
look at things like Capcom and other Japanese developers, Sega, that are just rolling now. They're doing so well financially because they went to a multi-plat strategy
Yeah,
versus just being paid the most, and then you make it exclusive. So that's why the CEO was kicked out. Now why they have Yoshi in now, because it's because he's going to be a little bit more consumer friendly
we sure
to get
hope
these
so.
games everywhere.
And I don't say this is a dig at PlayStation, but if they were able to solve the Final Fantasy question, I really wouldn't have much reason to be playing on PlayStation just because Xbox is my platform of choice. So that's the one thing that draws me over there for the most part. Other comments were hoping for some Dragon Quest. Well, there's that Square Enix thing again. They've been a little more friendly with the Dragon Quest titles. Final Fantasy and Tony Hawk, Final Fantasy VII remakes. So gamers are asking for some big names, and I don't know if we're going to get anything that big, especially here. I kind of have this weird little hope that we might get the Pixel remasters. That would be a really solid score, and I think more obtainable than maybe some of the bigger budget titles like 16 or 7 remake. But we might not get any Final Fantasy. It could be Atlas. It could be plenty of other things. But they seem to be wanting to make a big splash with this with the Tokyo Game Show to show that they're dedicated to Japan, and they're just going to keep trudging along as Xbox always has over there. Xbox Series X and S sales, they jumped 76% in the UK based on the Starfield launch. Not really.
I don't know what the numbers were. I don't know what the numbers were if that's
they were 76% less.
Yeah, but
the next post is complaining about Rockstar Games. They used to be my favorite developer, and it's a very long post. This thing tracked really well, so I'm assuming it's very well written. I'm sorry that I haven't really reviewed it yet. No, it's not really that long of a post.
Yeah, he just says how Rockstar used to be fantastic, and
yeah,
they just wait for GTA 6. It's been too long a wait.
I get it. These
Is
big
the
budget
overall
games.
takeaway.
Yeah, I hope I'm still alive when the next Elder Scrolls comes out. So we'll see how that goes. The next post is 8.5 hours for it to click, and I don't really have to expand this one because I think I understand. Do you guys agree?
No, it was quicker than that for me.
Quicker?
But yeah, it wasn't immediate. Like you said, there's no big. I was expecting a big intro. We are talking about Starfield, by the way, right? I was expecting a big intro, and like you see, this is what the Eurogamer article said. You come out the cave in Skyrim and you see the world for the first time, or like you said about the nuclear bomb and that. But then the Eurogamer article says like you walk through the mine and you come out onto like a concrete launch pad.
It's just like
And he
here.
was really underwhelmed by it. And I get it. But for me, it was just the vibe of the game, the feel that got me. I don't think it takes 8.5 hours.
Yeah, I
Quicker
mean,
than
it
that.
makes sense though for the reveal big
Yeah.
moment because Starfield's bigger than just that launch pad. You know,
Mm.
the big thing is there's so much to explore. So it makes sense why they didn't do this big grand reveal for somewhere you're probably only going to visit once. You know,
Yeah.
versus like Fallout or Skyrim where that whole world is the only world you're going to explore. So it kind of makes sense why they went with that in my eyes.
Yep, the top comment says, "Do the main story until you complete the mission into the unknown." That seems to be maybe a point where the story really starts to grip you. I think this all could have been solved by having a big Star Destroyer flying right over you as you came out of the cave, and some pew pew happening, and you're just like, "Oh man, this is awesome." But I don't know. I'm just joking, obviously.
It is definitely a slow burner. It's a
yeah.
slow burner, but it once it gets you, it's got you.
You know what?
Like,
Once I did
that's
the
what
character reset, that's when it clicked. Because then I was like, oh, I get it now. I understand the systems. I know what I'm doing, and this is fun. Now let's do it right.
Well, it's a good slow burn too, so that's why I like it because you could take your time. Like with any Bethesda game, you do what you want to do, and you can explore. You could do so. It's a good slow burn because everything's discoverable. It's all about finding out and exploring and discovering. So
Yeah.
it's a good slow burn. Like I
It-
said, I don't mind the pacing of it.
I'm still curious as to why Jez Corden really. So he tweeted and said he'd done 115 hours and then resets his character and he said, but I can't tell you why because it'd be a spoiler. But I needed to reset my character to start again because of something to do with he said I needed to do the main quest. So because of that, in the back of my mind, I've been doing the main quest as much as I could without going off too far because I'm thinking, whatever he stumbled across, I don't want to get into that. But I still don't know what it was
So
that made him reset.
yeah. So Tom Warren said the same thing. Play through the main story to get to New Game Plus.
Right.
I see why he said that, and I see why Jez did what he did. You just have to get to the end of the game to kind of see and get that oh wow kind of moment, and then you can see why these people were saying those things. Whether I agree with it, I think you should play Starfield how you want to play Starfield.
Are
Enjoy it.
you saying that I should not can I still go off and do all the side missions and do everything and not ruin my experience of the overall
Yeah, I mean,
arc?
however you want to play Starfield, you should play Starfield.
Okay.
That's what I'll say. Because without going too much into what happens, it's hard to explain why. But yeah, if you just want to knock out the story, I think it's very valid what Jez Corden and Tom Warren said. Um,
Right.
or what Tom Warren said specifically, to just blow through the story and then start your new game plus. There's a reason for that, but like I said, if that's not your thing, because I've heard people that are just burning through it and they're like, oh God, like it's not fun for them because the whole part of Bethesda games are to explore and to
Yeah.
see all the different things. And if you're only if you're on putting yourself on rails, it kind of limits the experience of Starfield that you're going to have. So play how you want to play. As far as my recommendation, that's what I would say. I see why they said those things, but I'm in the camp of just play how you want to play Starfield. When you get to that
Okay.
moment, then you can see, oh, okay, now I see why. Um, yeah, that's I wish I could say more. I
Okay.
wish I could just say more, but it's there's reasons
You
without
give birth to
spoiling.
yourself at the end of the game. Sorry. Big spoiler there. Sorry. The next Sims game, free to play. The current Sims game went to free to play like months ago, and everybody's like shocked by this in the comment section. Like, oh no, not free to play. This game's going to be terrible. It's just going to be just like a mobile game, and there's going to be no energy mechanics and no subscription. EA confirms. So it kind of seems like they might be going to a Sims Battle Pass system, if I had to speculate here, which might not be the worst case for this type of game. But I will tell you that this story tracked. A lot of people are still into The Sims. 349 upvotes. All the comments are witty cracks at downloadable content, and you have to furnish your house with real money. Tread lightly. Yeah, it's all just
I,
like everybody's like, okay, so how are you gonna milk us for money?
I've never played a Sims game
The Sims
ever,
They're fun.
ever,
never.
They're all right. They're fun.
ever.
Not even
Never,
like when it was
never
like a
even.
fad and like
No,
everybody was playing The
no,
Sims. Do you remember The Sims
I've not even
Online?
looked. No,
It was a sad.
it's I bypassed me completely. I didn't really have a PC. I've never really had a PC
Okay.
to game on, so so I
Actually,
don't
yeah,
know.
I was still working at EA when Sims 4 released.
There you
That's
go.
right. I remember that.
Still doing
Everyone was
well.
asking me to, because I used to get games, new release games for $20 via EA since I worked
Wow.
there. So
Lucky.
everybody would always ask me for the newest EA games like Madden and stuff because I just paid $20.
Yeah, no, the Sims games are doing well. I have a 13-year-old in the house who still buys expansion packs and downloadable content for him sometimes. Like, ooh, the horse pack, and I shouldn't make light of it. I played a lot of The Sims in my time, The Sims 2 especially. So it's it's everybody. It's a different kind of game,
Mhm.
and we get those questions a lot. Like, how do I get my so and so into gaming? It's a very approachable game because everybody knows how to cook and use the toilet for the most part. So let's hope it does well. Honestly,
So what is the answer to the question anyway? If they're releasing a free to play without subscriptions or energy? What's energy mechanics?
No energy. Well, like energy mechanics would be like you have to do this, and then you can pay to get more energy, so you can do more actions. So
It's like a mobile game. Have you ever
Yeah.
played like the mobile game? So you
I
want
got
to play the next level, you got to have so much energy and then you keep going
I
until
got you.
the energy's out and you can
Right.
either use a microtransaction.
Well, you have to
to
log in
refill or
daily
you-
to do like
yeah,
stuff.
it's a
Or wait.
time-based
Yeah.
kind of thing.
So how are they going to make money? That's a valid question. How are
I'm
they
gonna
gonna
guess a
get-
battle pass type thing for additional content. I'm gonna guess cosmetics.
Yeah.
They're gonna follow the same route that every other game is doing these days. And you know what? It's not my favorite model, but it's not my least favorite. It makes sense for a game like this to me, especially when
Yeah.
most of the revenue now comes from selling downloadable content packs, and
Yeah.
it would be this season is the college season, this season is the pet season, and then you just add that content and collect it as you go on, and they keep milking you for $15 every 3 months, and everybody's happy, sort of.
We are hitting the 2-hour mark.
We're at 1
I don't
minute
know how
30.
much time you guys have.
Yeah, now we're 38. We can kind of get close to wrapping up here. There's a new Mastercard, Xbox sponsored, not coming out till next year. You can use it. If you do, you get rewarded with Xbox points. It's like every other credit card that's out there. Square Enix lost $2 billion in market cap. I posted the story, and it says since Final Fantasy 16's release. That was a little bit clickbaity. I probably could have edited that out of there. I did not realize I was going to fire so many people up with that submission. I'm sorry if you were upset by that. It just shows that there's a lot of different factors that could lead to that, but it does maybe give some credence to why maybe Square Enix is looking at some different strategies moving forward, like we discussed earlier, kind of extensively. NBA 2K24 released. That's a big news for a lot of people, including a lot of my real life friends. Good game, awful with microtransactions, just like laden with them. It's awful. It's bad. Speaking of games that want to milk their fan base, it's just terrible. I have nothing good to say about it. That's my critique. And I think, for the most part, that's most of the big headlines this week, except there is one more I should slip in here. Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to bring that up. That was super pumped. I saw that yesterday.
Yeah, coming to Xbox
I'm
in
excited for
February
that one.
2024, so spring of next year.
Yeah.
Did you guys play, like, is that a treasured
Yeah,
gaming
that
memory
was
for
like-
you?
Yeah, my PlayStation 1. I remember jumping
Yeah.
over that wall and the T-Rex being there, and that was like the big like PlayStation 1 moment of
Sure.
when
I
I
remember
bought
a
my
bear. For some
console.
reason. Like, I watched a friend play it.
Yeah.
And it was a bear, and I was like, oh my
cave
god.
and yeah. Yeah,
Lara
that-
was like 6 pixels. Like, it was.
But
It's really something else.
it was a great. It's that thing at the time, isn't it? That at the time, that was the best. That was the technology,
Sure,
right? That
yeah.
was
Then after that,
the
Metal
best.
Gear, Metal Gear Solid wasn't too far behind.
You
And
Metal
that game,
Gear.
oh god, that game blew
Yeah.
my mind.
That'd be good. I mean, if it when you say remake, is it a remake or remaster?
A remaster.
is it
So it's
remaster?
touched up, not a complete remake, but just they
Okay.
spruced it up the best they can, I guess. And I'm gonna say
Sure.
I'm gonna call the news there so we can kind of get into wrapping up because Spiritfarer came back to Xbox or back to Game Pass. Really charming game. So
Yeah, and Mortal Kombat 1 dropped today on early
did.
access as well.
we have a custom theme going on the subreddit, courtesy of our very own Moko.
I'm sad that Grim's not on the call because on the chat because I'm sure he's
we'll get him.
deep into Mortal Kombat.
Yep, next week
Grim
Grim will be back with us, Ivan, and he is our fighting game expert, and he will tell us
Yeah.
all about it. Here's a screenshot of Neon City. We were just talking about it. I just kind of pulled that up there for everybody to see, and that's it. I'm closing out. Xbox Gold is gone. It's now core, but you get all those games with it. But you can check out the tiers, see what's right for you. So let's wrap it up, Kevin.
What's up?
Oh, hi there. We're gonna wrap it up.
No, I thought you were just keep going.
Nope. I'm just putting you
What
on
are
the
we
spot
doing?
real quick. I saw that you were like really distracted by something, so I was like the teacher, like when you're in class. And
Yeah. Are we doing? I mean,
Yep.
what's the spot?
Yeah, we're gonna do that bit.
That's why I was just like Kevin.
We're going, Kev. We're going.
You were talking about the you were talking about the Game Pass core and stuff. So I thought you were just going on to the next news. You just said Kevin, so I didn't know what we were.
No,
gonna
you know
start
what
discussing.
happened is I got to like.
Unless you want to bring up my own topic.
Oh yes. Does any you guys? Do you have any topics that did not blah 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 did not make the
I think
top
we've covered
submissions of the
everything.
week?
To be honest,
Okay.
I'm gonna say I think we've covered everything.
Blizzard's targeting cheaters in Overwatch. Yay.
Yep. Could possibly have done. Ghostwire Tokyo reaches 6 million players. That's a good one for Game Pass.
It is.
Game Pass title.
SpongeBob SquarePants: The Cosmic Shake, free Series X upgrade coming in October 16th. I actually bought that game and didn't play it, so big win for me.
Yeah.
60 frame SpongeBob. So, all right. Now we've really expended the news.
Well, the Tokyo Game Show. I mean, I don't know what your guys' hours are, but I mean, if you want to kind of do a live stream on that could be cool. Might do something around that. But is it too early for you guys?
For me,
it's 2 a.m. my time, 5 a.m.
Oh, is it 2 a.m. for
Jay.
you?
Yeah, it's 5
Yeah.
a.m. me. I mean, I might be around, but
I mean, I'm up anyways, but
well,
still.
I'm not expecting. I'm going to be watching. We'll definitely have a live stream up on the subreddit. We might not be doing commentary on it, but we'll be there in the comment section if not, and we'll share and discuss it with all of you live right there on the subreddit on Xbox Series X. So I'm excited for it though. I think it's going to be bigger than it has been in years past for Xbox.
Yeah.
So what are you guys going to be playing this week?
Starfield, I think. I ain't gonna. I can't really move on yet. I'm too far. I'm too deep. I'm too deep, but I'm not deep enough. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. That's where I'm at too.
To pull out.
There's a lot of stuff I don't know about.
Yeah, I play the storyline as much as you want. Don't burn yourself out on it. If you guys are looking for that big reveal, that big, aha moment you get at the beginning of the game, for me, I feel that's the end of the game.
Yeah.
And you'll see
that's
why.
a long wait to get my hooks. I'm kidding.
you'll see why. And then you have that big, aha moment and the big, it's like I said, just play at your pace, but just don't try and burn yourself out on it, Moko.
Ozzy's asking if your mods are Xbox compatible. They're not, are they? You can't use any mods on Xbox.
No mods on Xbox.
Am I wrong?
Not yet.
At this time.
Todd Howard said he is going to bring them out next year.
Yeah.
Official mod support. Yeah. Right now it's all Nexus mod support, so it's just different unofficial mods.
And they will break achievements. You won't be able to fix that. I think if you use any of the
even
mods,
if they are
Xbox,
visual.
Yeah. Good. All good.
Good. Yes, I'll be playing Starfield and Sea of Stars. I have to have that side game. You guys don't need a side game, like something like a different flavor. It's hard for me to just tunnel vision.
Lies of P drops on the 19th.
Or today, if you have, I think if you could or if you bought it, the digital edition today, I think is the 3-day early access.
Very well.
I was, prior to Starfield, I was playing. I had tons of stuff on the go all at once. I had Arcade Paradise. I was playing tons of. I was deep into Gears 5 multiplayer every night, and I was playing all sorts. But I've just shelved it all at the moment. Just playing exclusively playing Starfield. But
that's fair. It's that kind of year, and I have a feeling I'll be playing Baldur's Gate when that comes out just as extensively, and the good times are going to keep coming. Forza's going to slip in there. We've discussed everything that's around the corner, including in the spring of next year. I need more of me. I need clones everywhere, so I play like 3 games at once. It's the only way to do it. But whatever we're doing, we'll be talking about it right here on Xbox Talks. So, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just gonna be
Cool.
playing Starfield
Done.
some more. Probably go to my third playthrough, third or fourth playthrough.
Third playthrough. Jeez.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of, like I said, I did the first one, and then the second. I'll probably wrap up this week, and then start working on my third.
I'm approaching 100,000 gamer score, guys. I don't want to intimidate you with my pro gamer status, but after like 15 years of it, I just play the same games over and over. I can't help out. Like I said, I'll be playing Starfield for probably 10 years. So, anyways, that's it. I'm jumping out of here.
Cool. Yeah.
Hey, it was good to get a show out.
I think that's it for us.
Yeah, thanks to you guys for making this happen, and we'll be more regular audience. We know that we missed a few weeks, but it's prime gaming time. So
sure,
see you all
next Friday
week.
for sure.
Yep, see you then.
Sure.
Yep. Happy gaming, y'all.
Happy gaming.